I spent an entire year studying for the LSAT, and at least half of it was a complete waste of time. I started off in the low 150s and stayed there for far too long, doing old LSAT prep textbooks. These were hand-me-downs containing fake LSAT questions, books like Kaplan and LSAT for Dummies. They were, of course, a complete waste of time and actually counterproductive because they only served to confuse me further when I couldn't figure out the answers, because the problem was with how the questions themselves were designed. There were tons of typos and mistakes. I found it far more valuable to do real, actual, official LSAT practice tests, but what those were lacking were explanations. The explanations I found from prep companies were not helpful to me at all, and taking test after test wasn't helping me either, because I wasn't getting feedback on why I was making mistakes. I did get the immediate dopamine hit of seeing what my results were, and this was obsessive for me to the point that I did every single practice test ever released. There were 40 something of them at the time, and over the course of what ended up being that entire year, I did bring my score from the low 150s to practice test scores in the mid to high 170s, and I ultimately scored a 175 on test day itself. But taking test after test was not the key to my success. I actually ended up adopting a far more structured study plan for myself that I now call the laser approach to LSAT prep. And I'll share this program with you in just a moment, but first I wanted to let you know that if you don't have a study plan for yourself, this is one of the most valuable things you can do to help you make the most of your limited study time. And for this reason, at LSAT Unplugged, we create personalized day-by-day study plans for all of our students to make sure that you're staying on track. And we also provide you with regular accountability calls to make sure that you're moving forward with your plan of attack. Now, if you're not in the program, that's okay too, of course. I'll share with you now how you can create a plan like this for yourself. So what is the laser approach? LASER is an acronym standing for Learning, Accuracy, Sections, Exams, and Review. And again, it is that foundation underlying all of my LSAT study plans. Now, you don't want to cram this entire program into just 1 month. So if you're taking the LSAT in 1 month and you feel like you need a plan that you don't really know what you're doing, I recommend slowing it down, considering maybe postponing your LSAT test date to allow you much more time to achieve your fullest potential. Now, the learning phase is where you focus on building that foundation first from the beginning, starting off with the most common LSAT question types. So in logical reasoning, for example, you have necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. You don't want to focus on the rare question types that hardly ever come up, since every question is worth the same. In reading comprehension, when you read the passage, you want to focus on, first and foremost, getting down what is the main idea, what is the author's opinion, the details, the supporting examples. You can always go back to the passage later to help you hunt for that specific information and find it when you need to. Now, the accuracy phase of the study plan is where you drill questions by type to make sure that you are crystal clear on the proper perspective from which to view each question type. Then phase 3, we move on to S for sections. This is where you work on your pacing, doing timed 35-minute sections with standard timing, maybe a little bit more. If you have accommodations with time and a half, you get 53 minutes per section, and with double time, you get 70 minutes per section. And this is the phase where you figure out how to allocate your time over the course of the section so that you're not running out of time and not getting to all the questions, and that you're also not finishing the section too early, because if you have too much time to spare, that means maybe you were going too fast in areas where you would have benefited from slowing down a little bit. Phase 4 is where you do E for endurance and exams. This is where you are doing full-length timed practice tests, 2 sections back-to-back, a 10-minute break, then 2 more sections back-to-back, and you're done. You want to do at least 10 full-length timed practice tests before the big day itself, so that the test day itself feels like just another run-through. Now, the R in the laser approach is for review, where you analyze and review each LSAT practice test that you take to figure out which tricks and traps you are personally uniquely prone to falling for, so that you can avoid making the same mistake again. At LSAT Unplugged, we teach the Socratic review method framework. I cover this plenty in my other videos. But the bottom line is that you want to make sure that you are extracting the key valuable insights from the questions that you're getting wrong and having difficulty with, because every single question that you get wrong is an opportunity to learn something new. So you definitely don't want to neglect this final phase of the LASER approach. So again, to recap, LASER stands for learning, accuracy, sections, exams, and review. Make sure that you craft that personalized study plan for yourself. And if you want my help, feel free to reach out. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.